our protagonist wakes up in a strange place. He recalls the last time he was riding his motorbike up the mountain when he accidentally crashed into a vending machine and plunged into the abyss with it. No idea which god was on some crazy drug trip to bless him by reincarnating him as a vending machine. Yet when our protagonist looks at his reflection in the water, he feels amazing becoming something he truly loves. This guy's taste is seriously weird. He realizes he can only make a limited set of sounds. Using every brain power he has left, though he technically has no brain now, he figures out he can only sell 2 items. To change the products, he needs to use points. These points can be exchanged from sales money, allowing him to add or swap items and unlock new functions. Finding this pretty cool, our protagonist decides to test it out right away. He switches from plain water to some bubble tea bottles, and for every 100 yen sold he earns 1 point. This got him super hyped, but then he realizes the place has no power outlet. Every hour, he must spend 1 point to keep powered up. That means 24 points a day. So he needs to earn 2400 yen daily if he doesn't want to end up in the trash. He only has 900 points left, so he decides to save up and wait for customers. Waiting all day the next day, no one shows up. Just when he's about to light a fire to break the bad luck, a frog suddenly hops over. Not too surprised, our protagonist warmly greets it. Turns out his first customer attacks him with physical force. His durability points drop. If they hit 0, he's dead for real. Checking further, he finds he can use points to cast magic and heal himself. But then the frog calls some backup carrying heavy weapons to rough him up. Our protagonist panics hard but can't find any way to defend himself. While getting battered, he discovers the awakening menu, letting him use skills listed there. After some thought, he creates a protective barrier to shield himself from those gangster frogs by the lakeside. Feeling proud, he thinks he's unbeatable, but the points spent are few. And those frogs don't give up, they keep attacking. A late afternoon, they finally tire and leave. After healing with points, he only has enough left to survive 10 more days. The next day, bored with no customers, a girl suddenly appears. She's tired and down, hungry, and lost her food bag, then discovers our protagonist's existence. She approaches the vending machine and he greets her with a welcome message. Smart girl instantly realizes she has to insert money into the slot to get items. She throws in a 1-cent coin, but it doesn't work. The system tells our protagonist the currency needs converting before use, so he spends points to exchange the money's value. Even though prices go up, the girl's too hungry to care. With 1 silver coin, she successfully buys a can of corn soup. After trying it, she finds it delicious. Seeing her satisfied makes our protagonist really happy. She then splurges on more items and drinks to her heart's content. All in all today, our protagonist earns 6 silver coins and 30 cents, converting to 63 points. That night, she sleeps beside him, protected by his shield. He even cleans up trash because he's big on protecting the environment. The next morning, she wakes up, greets him, and realizes he can talk but only says certain fixed phrases. She suggests taking him to meet a friend who loves inventing magical gadgets named Lamit. She introduces herself as Lamit. After a brief chat, she notices he only uses welcome customer to agree, and that's unfortunate to decline. Once he agrees, Lamit powers up and lifts the half-ton machine, starting to move it. Halfway through, Lamit stops because she's hungry, but her dice roll isn't enough to fill her up, so our protagonist switches the product to potato chips. After enjoying 1 box, Lamit can't stop and buys more. Thanks to her generosity, our protagonist recovers 320 points, so he decides to discount items to thank her. Before long, they arrived at Lamit's village. 2 guards rushed over, worried about her safety. Because of Lamit's recent mission, many people lost their lives. Hearing the 3 of them talk made the protagonist confused. They mentioned this place was Dugon. Lamit then showed the 2 guards how to buy items from the vending machine. They tried the food from the machine, got hooked on the turkey, and kept spending money like crazy. This made the protagonist super happy, thinking he was about to get rich. While Lamit was carrying the protagonist into town, she spotted a gang bullying a little lolly. She decided to teach those punks a lesson, throwing punches and kicks non-stop. Luckily, they saw she was as strong as a bull and didn't dare mess with her. The little lolly rushed over to thank Lamit for the rescue. Beauty saving beauty. Lamit finally, happily returned to the inn. When the woman saw Lamit, she was overjoyed. Her sister Monami rushed down the stairs in a flash and hugged her tight. She said after hearing that the hunters traveling with Lamit abandoned her, she posted a Facebook expose that ruined their chances to make a living here. Lamit quickly introduced the vending machine she found and placed the protagonist in front of the inn, because she no longer had money to use the teleportation ring to leave. Since Lamit bought many items from the protagonist, Munami told her to stay here for now and keep the protagonist at the door to attract customers. The protagonist's spot was on a Dugon floor called Lake Clainfor. His appearance caught the attention of many people. By evening, Lamit would take the protagonist to the 2 guards so they could buy items. Seeing the guards were tired of his food, and he already had 3000 points, the protagonist decided to change the items in the machine. The new item cost 3 gold, but came with an epic usage guide. As soon as they opened it, the 2 guards eagerly ate it. It was the town's top-tier Odin noodles. Many customers loved the canned Odin too, but the protagonist wisely didn't sell it during the day to avoid competing with Lamit's restaurant. The little loli saved by Lamit came to gossip with the protagonist but got scared and ran off when he threatened her. Then she threw stones at him. By evening, Lamit took him back to the gate guards, and late at night carried him home again. She really hoped to save enough money to take him to Hulami to help the protagonist talk more than just grunts. She decided to name the protagonist the Box, and being carried by girls like that made him feel like an NDT0 while being a vending machine. Today, when he opened his eyes, a huge bear smashed Lamit in the face. Opening the door to greet it, he was shocked it was the local Hunters Guild leader. He came to verify the magical box everyone was talking about and to invite Lamit and the protagonist to join the team to hunt frogs. Lamit was a bit worried since the box couldn't fight, but the guild leader only wanted them to provide supplies to the hunters. He promised to assign someone to protect her in the machine. Lamit wanted to ask the protagonist's opinion, but since he had a thing for girls, he quickly agreed. 3 days later, Lamit and the protagonist set off with the Hunters Guild. According to the guild leader, they needed to protect the village and the teleportation circle, as it's the way to travel from dungeon to dungeon. The hunters hired to escort Lamit and the protagonist were very excited about the fight because they heard the frog population was unusually high this year. Lamit just set the vending machine down to rest when Captain Kenny Joy came over to greet them. He had heard many rumors about the machine and was very interested in it. Lamit quickly introduced it and showed him how to use it. Kenny Joy skeptically bought a drink and was surprised by the beautiful bottle the protagonist sold. He quickly tasted it and loved it because it was so delicious. When Lamit said the machine sold items without restocking Kenny, Joy got curious and called his vice captain Felmina to check it out. After inspecting, Felmina found no magic power inside the vending machine. Though the captain thought the machine pulled items from another dimension, she insisted the protagonist was just a lump of metal. It made him chuckle silently since she clearly didn't know a damn thing. While Kenny Joy greeted him, the guild leader shouted that it was time to rest. The protagonist took advantage of this to sell instant noodles, making everyone obsessed. She bought a ton, especially that white-haired girl named Shui. Lamit sat down to eat with her, chatting happily. Guild leader came over to eavesdrop on the sisters' conversation. He said it would take 3 whole hours to reach the frog cave tomorrow. Wondering if Lamit wanted to join the fight. Lamit really wanted to, but worried about the safety of the AI vending machine. But the main guy was just as fired up, so she decided to join him in the battle. That night, she slept right beside the vending machine, not leaving its side while he was determined to protect her no matter what. Next day, everyone ran into a thick fog and muddy ground. While moving forward, the guild leader ordered an attack. Everyone charged out to fight the frogs. Carrie Joy and her team were pumped, but the main guy worried about Lamit because her fighting skills sucked big time. Suddenly, a frog lunged out, but Lamit landed a punch and knocked it out cold. Turns out, carrying the vending machine helped her balance her body. Carrie Joy and her team coordinated attacks, beating the frogs hard, but there were too many and they surrounded them all. Shui used sniper shots for support. Lamit carelessly got bitten by a sneaky frog. Lamit jumped out to take the hit. Luckily, the main guy's shield knocked the frog away. Turns out he spent a whopping 1000 points to upgrade the shield. Lamit decided to ask him to watch her back and provide cover. Captain Keezy Joy praised Lamit for being badass, so she got distracted and didn't notice 2 frogs sneaking up behind her. Ignoring the main guy's warning, he saw her getting mauled and had to open the shield again to blast the frogs away. Keezy Joy thought this was Lamit's blessing, but she said it was the vending machine's power. The captain gave the main guy a super shady look, making him super cautious. The group successfully defeated the frogs. Carrie Joy ordered her subordinates to cut off their tongues as proof for rewards. Vice Captain Fumi complained about the slimy tongues, but Carrie Joy said she's the captain and doesn't have to do it, so everyone protested. Seeing the loot was pretty decent, he wanted the whole group to move to the front lines, but Fumi said they needed Lamit's permission since their mission was to escort her and the vending machine. KZ Joy then offered a tempting reward to persuade her. This made the main guy just want to slap him. When asking Lamit, Kelly Joy started acting all cute, trying to get her to agree. Seeing his annoying antics, the vice captain gave him a splash of water to cool off. Lamit, boosted by praise and confidence, agreed to go to the front lines with them. Of course, the main guy agreed to follow her. Kenji Joy's team charged ahead and wiped out the frogs in front, but many were injured in the battle. Lamit eagerly carried the injured onto vehicles, while the main guy didn't want to sit idle and handed out electrolyte drinks to help them recover. The guild leader came to thank Kenji Joy and his foolish crew for their help. The main guy wondered what dumb name this guy picked. The guild leader was glad they pushed back the frogs, but worried that with so many the Fire Frog Queen might appear, urging everyone to unite and fight hard. That night, while resting, Lamit was called to the market to help with medical supplies. She warned the main guy to be careful, but got sulky because he didn't seem to care about her leaving. This made him feel like they were a couple, except he's just a machine. So what can he do? Austin thought a sneaky guy with a sly face approached. He tried to pick the lock and shove a tool into the main guy's slot. Seeing him trying to steal money, the main guy quickly greeted him, startling the guy. The machine then spat out a free bottle of water, clearly bait for the thief. But the thief got roasted with a super hot can right in his hand. Furious, he tried to attack, but before he could, Lamit restrained and tied him up. Just then the fiery frog queen appeared, scaring everyone and Lamit so badly that the pig riders were terrified and couldn't run anymore. Feeling pity, Lamit released them and took their place to pull the cart. The main guy worried about her and looked for a solution. He finally came up with a plan. He spat out tons of large Coca-Cola bottles and transformed into a candy vending machine. However, the others couldn't understand what the male lead wanted to say, thinking he was broken, but Lamit firmly believed he had some plan. The thief, feeling like he was about to meet his ancestors, shouted loudly to demand they release his dad. He talked too much, so they stuffed a bunch of candy into his mouth. Seeing him choking someone, poured Coke into his mouth, causing the liquid to splash everywhere. Lamit got the idea and put candy into the Coke, making it spray all over the place. This is a trick where good candy is put into Coke to make it erupt. Lamit and the others quickly mixed candy and Coke and sprayed it at the Frog King, hurting its eyes. Just then, Kazi Joy's group arrived in time to swiftly take down the Frog King. The group hurried to apologize to Lamit for putting her in danger. With the Frog King defeated, the leader ordered everyone to head home quickly. On the way back, the group suddenly discovered the town was under attack. The guild leader urged them to return quickly, or risk becoming homeless. Lamit worried about her and sister Monami. Seeing this, the male lead comforted her so Lamit could regain her spirit and run home. Upon arriving, Lamit rushed to her lodging only to find it reduced to rubble. She was about to cry, but encouraged by his words, calmed herself, thinking she and her sister had reached the hunter's headquarters and would find the culprit, a two-headed snake that had been dealt with. 2 guards saw Lamit and told her family was safe, letting her breathe a sigh of relief. Seeing everyone in town safe made the male lead happy too, so he decided to throw a big party tonight, offering free food to all. That night, the whole town joyfully celebrated, even drinking the snake to be sure. Since the food was free today, many people lined up in front of the vending machine. Lamit, happily drunk, came over to chat with him, then kept on drinking without noticing. The next morning, everyone started rebuilding the town. The male lead also took the chance to sell goods to the carpenters and make some cash. Meanwhile, Lamit was called up by the Hunter Guild leader to be rewarded. She returned proudly, saying she was assigned as captain of the cleanup crew, making him think the guild leader was a bear, but smart as a dog. Lamit carried him on her shoulder to greet sister Munami and her mother. A group of 3 was about to buy supplies, but saw Lamit punch through a big rock with bare hands, killing their appetite because she was like a 2-legged beast. Captain Kazi Joy also came and praised Lamit. He just received his reward and decided to treat everyone. Lamit politely chose a random bottle of water, but her friends said in times like this, pick the most expensive one. The captain got scared hearing that. He quickly invited Lamit and the male lead to join his group, but she refused, saying the town needed her support and she didn't want to think about other things. Someone awarded Lamit the Citizen of the Year certificate. A moment later, 2 strange people approached the vending machine. Lamit greeted them and the purple-haired girl introduced herself as a koi from the exchange group. She came because she heard the silver coins here were dropping sharply and wondered who was hoarding money to invest in stocks. The male lead got nervous hearing this, but Lamit calmly pointed him out. Koi decided to negotiate with him to exchange 1 gold coin for 10 silver coins. This was a sweet deal, so the male lead didn't refuse, but even if he wanted to, the machine didn't support that function. Lamit suggested they try buying items with gold coins. Unexpectedly, the male lead had a change return function just like that petty thief from before. They went over and saw Akoi and her partner putting coins into the male lead, causing him to spit out all the silver coins they wanted. After a while, they had a whole pile of silver coins and left. Today, a strange old man came near the machine. He was playing the lottery, but his luck was so bad he didn't win. Turns out, the male lead added a lottery function to exploit gamblers' psychology to double their losses. Sure enough, the old man tried to play again but was dragged away by his roof. Lamit hurried over to inform him that her talented magic tools friend wasn't home yet, so she couldn't bring him there. The guild leader then came and said he had something to discuss with the 2 of them. After praising Lamit with some words, he tactfully sent her away to talk privately with the male lead. He explained that the influx of people to the town was increasing, causing many headaches, including a population boom. After hearing that, you seem pretty understanding. It's ridiculous to let an innocent girl like Lamit out there. The guild leader then called in a beautiful girl named Shyla. The male lead was immediately impressed and explained the population problem the town was facing. He thought for a moment, and then turned into a vending machine, selling 3 wolves. The guild leader held the box without knowing what it was, which made sense, since I used to think it was chewing gum as a kid. After fiddling with the slimy stuff inside and reading the instruction sheet, he understood the operating principle of the 3 wolves quite well. He really wanted to teach her how to use it. A little later, Lamit took him home, her face flushed. In the following days, the girl saved by Lamit kept throwing stones at him, forcing the bodyguards to escort him home because she was Susie, a rich young lady. The next day, Susie came again, but this time she was moved when he treated her to a bottle of orange juice. That night, the male lead got to freely admire the heavenly scene inside the women's changing room. Lamit approached him to buy super silky shampoo, a product even the furry residents highly favored. After bathing Lamit and Siley, each made a light glass of milk to refresh their spirits. The next afternoon, the old man with a gambling habit brought his granddaughter to visit him. He taught the girl how to play while her mother and grandmother worried she'd become addicted like him. Dangerous stuff. The girl used all her luck and won with 3 identical numbers. She got a free bottle of drink and gave it to her grandpa. The two were very happy, spending a fun day together before heading home. The next day, the guild leader came to see the male lead because he heard he had stealth skills. After witnessing his abilities, the guild leader asked him to hide in crime-prone areas to point out bad guys. So the male lead was stationed in front of the guild headquarters. Lamit was worried all day since she hadn't seen him, but when she learned the guild leader borrowed him for a secret mission, she relaxed and got pumped to work. Siley asked Lamit where the machine was because she was craving black sugar pearl milk tea. In the afternoon, Lamit passed by where the male lead was hiding and met Susie. The girl called the male lead an idiot and herself a 3-headed monster. This girl is something else. She wanted Lamit to sell him to her, but Lamit said a flat screen type like her, no way. Susie got salty and bragged she'd grow big boobs like her mom when she's older. The 2 bodyguards hid behind crying because the girl didn't realize the boss lady was also a savage. Meanwhile, I wondered how those 2 guys knew that. When persuasion failed, the girl asked Lamit if she knew the machine well. Lamit said she just felt he was like a friend to her. This made the male lead grin like he was eavesdropping. No deal, so Susie left. That's when he decided to reveal his technique and scare Lamit like a fan playing a prank. Today, a group came looking for the male lead, saying the guild leader hired him and they came to reinforce a nearby wall. He was suspicious but then saw the guy who tried to steal his money before. Seeing the guy's friendly attitude, he thought maybe he turned over a new leaf and agreed to go with them. 8 hours later, he felt like a kidnapped maiden crossing the border. The male lead sat quietly, observing the situation. The leader ordered the group to stop and take a break to pee. The male lead took the chance to snap photos of them as evidence for court later. The thief from earlier threatened him with a knife to vomit money and food, but when it didn't work, he stabbed the machine's shell. The leader stopped him fearing damage, but upon hearing the machine could self-repair, he ordered his men to beat him hard. Sitting still wasn't an option, so he spent 1000 points to boost its durability. From then on, none of their attacks caused any damage. He didn't even bother to heal, making the leader get scolded by his captain. The male lead generously offered the group water after vigorously massaging his acupoints. But as soon as they drank, they threw up because the water tasted awful. That evening, they took him to an abandoned house to hand him over to a girl for research. One of the henchmen seemed scared the girl wouldn't obey orders, but when the boss threatened to cut his junk, he and the others reluctantly carried him in butt first. No sooner had they set him down, than the girl inside the room started yelling at him fiercely. Scared, the guy threw the roll of paper containing investigation info about the machine to the girl. She was about to teach him a lesson when he and his gang quickly took off. The girl picked up the paper, read it, and introduced herself as Hulemi. You hear the name and it sounds familiar. She said she was a famous magical device engineer, captured here to find a way to make you cough up money. You realize Hulemi is the friend Lamit mentioned, so you greet her happily. Hulemi was excited that you could talk. Seeing the instruction sheet in her hands, she somewhat understood how to communicate with you. After a while of passionately explaining about magical device tech, Hulemi felt thirsty and went to get water. You generously offered her a bottle of milk. Hulemi opened it curiously and thought it was awesome and delicious. Seeing her smile so beautifully made the protagonist very happy too. So the 2 of them sat down and started chatting and exchanging ideas. After a while, Hulemi learned that the machine had a human soul inside and you needed to use money to operate it and cast spells. What a money-hungry machine. The protagonist then showed off skills transforming into various machines, impressing Hulemi. Seeing your shield skill made her even more fascinated. The protagonist opened the shield for her to step inside and admire the beautiful view. After some self-questioning and answering, Hulemi got a rough understanding of you. This made the protagonist think she was super smart. That night, while Hulemi was sleeping soundly, those guys sneaked in intending to mess with her. Seeing this, you couldn't accept it and transformed into a magazine vending machine. Watching the 3 guys drool over the sexy magazines, you found an excuse to slip away and made the squirrels run off. You knew exactly where they went because, well, they were all guys. The next morning a guy came to deliver food to Hulemi. She stretched and woke up to have breakfast, but seeing the rice paper, she just couldn't deal and decided to skip it. Ben invited her to try your bread. Hulemi tried it and was hooked. She then tried all kinds of food until she was stuffed. The leader came in asking if Hulemi had found anything and ordered her to figure out how to extract money from the machine within 2 days. The next day, Hulemi studied diligently. The protagonist noticed she was pretty but had a messy hair, so he transformed and gifted her 2 bottles of warm water with conditioner. Hulemi smelled her head and decided to take a shower. Now her hair was clean and fragrant. You were pleased, but explained to everyone that you did it to help her relax, not to watch her shower. Hulemi felt very comfortable, but the protagonist was extremely worried because they only had 1 day left to escape. You were thinking about how both could make a clean break when Hulemi came to talk to you. She knew you planned to stay and sacrifice yourself so she could escape, but outside there were many wild beasts. A girl like Hulemi going alone wouldn't be safe to return either. After saying that, Hulemi felt tired and decided to sleep. Watching her sleep peacefully, you felt relieved. At midnight, you felt a tremor and realized the kidnappers were being attacked by that AI, so you quickly sent out a warning and woke Hulemi. Lamid's voice echoed, revealing that a battle was going on outside to save you. Hulemi realized Lamid was also your friend and happily dodged falling bricks beside you. She worried because above them weren't just the kidnappers' gold bags, but also their explosives meant to blow up the village and town. You cursed those idiots for their dumb plan. Luckily, you activated a shield to protect both of you from the falling debris. Hulemi knew the shield's time limit, but thanks to the protagonist's aura, she spotted the kidnappers' money bags loaded with cash. She happily shopped to help you earn points to extend the shield's usage time by 3 more days. Suddenly, Hulemi collapsed from headache, dizziness, and blurred vision. You realized she was oxygen deprived and transformed into a mask vending machine. Hulemi saw the long tube sticking out from you and put it in her mouth, breathing deeply. No idea if it smelled good though. She said if you were human she'd have a crush on you right then. This made your heart flutter just as Lamit arrived at your spot. He immediately raised a shield for her to enter, but somehow, Lamid VA made him take damage too. When Ra reached outside, Lamid hugged the protagonist tightly, refusing to let go. He was also really happy to see her again. Vice Captain Fumi was moved and surprised to see Captain Keijijoy decide to help this case for free, but he said he did it because he needed Lamid and the protagonist's help. Lamid was so focused on hugging the machine that she forgot about Hulemi's arrival. That's true sisterly love. Hulemi was very happy to see Lamid again and even happier when he gave her a bottle of milk. Back then, Lamid caught fish with her bare hands with a power like throwing a grenade while Hulemi just looted gear on the shore, and praised Lamid's parents for their luck to have Tozo reincarnate like her. But Lamid was sad cause she was too strong, so all the stuff at home got wrecked, but now she has a machine that can't break to be her friend. Thanks to him, she feels less lonely. At this moment, Lamid hugged him tightly in her sleep. Seeing them so close, Hulemi decided to tell him about Lamid's past. Their small village was attacked, and although Lamid was as strong as an ox, she was too scared to do anything. Since then, she's carried that guilt and grew up wanting to be a monster hunter. The next morning, Hulemi decided to stay in the town. After greeting her friend, she hurried to the guildmaster's place, because of something urgent. At that moment, her 2 bodyguards, Suji's men, sneaked into the tent and bowed, begging Hulemi and him to accept a request from their mistress. Before Hulemi could ask what it was, the 2 guards quickly left because Suji was coming. Suji arrived and politely greeted Hulemi, then bowed to ask for her help. Hulemi invited her in to talk. After a while, Suji explained that she wanted Hulemi and the protagonist to represent her family at a party organized to showcase the magical tools and engineers of each family. The party was hosted by Suji's arch-rival Kanashi's family. No one knows why the 2 girls hate each other so much. Just mentioning Kanashi makes Suji grind her teeth. Sounds fun, so Hulemi and him agreed to go to the party. Hulemi and he saw the girl named Kanashi. In terms of looks, Suji was clearly a shrimp next to her. Suji greeted Kanashi, casually throwing shade. Kanashi fired back, saying Suji would lose and cry until her face was ugly. Suji immediately replied, "Yeah, I'm ugly, but my features are balanced way better than your ugly pelvic bones. Even the demons avoid you." The protagonist heard this and was shocked by how savage these kids' mouths are. Damn. Kanashi then greeted Hulemi and bragged about her family's engineer's talent to Suji, but she was still confident she'd win. Suji got so mad she kept pounding the table. Then came the engineers' performances from each family. First was a boy introducing a staff that could transform into multiple weapons. Holy crap, insane, but it turned out the transformations were done manually. The protagonist was all in for this invention. Then some lame magical tools were shown. Hulemi even dozed off. Next was Kanashi's family's engineer, proudly showing off their smart magical tool robot, impressing everyone. Hulemi immediately got worried because the tech hadn't been fully developed yet, meaning the engineer had trapped a human soul inside the machine. This was extremely dangerous since a previous engineer using this caused an entire village's destruction. Right after, she said that the robot suddenly went berserk, losing control and knocking the engineer down. It charged at him, wanting revenge for trapping its soul. Hulemi quickly ordered the bodyguards to restrain it. She then climbed onto it and removed the sealing stone to free the trapped soul. Kanashi's engineer was devastated that his invention was ruined, and others recognized Hulemi's reputation from her troublemaking days at the academy, making her embarrassed. Suji took the chance to rub it in Kanashi's face. Everything was settled smoothly, making the protagonist very happy, but he got ignored because no one paid attention to him. Snow began to fall in the town. The restaurant owners and Sister Munami were having a very important meeting, so important they invited the protagonist too. From what he knew, a restaurant chain named Chain was about to open a branch in the town. The restaurant owners, along with Munami-san, are having a super important meeting, so important they even invited the main guy. From what you know, a restaurant chain called Cha is about to open a branch in town. This is making it tough for the smaller restaurants, yet you're just a vending machine and still have to grind through this mess. Munami-san said if you help out, you'll get a discount on rent. Hearing that his wife benefits, he agrees immediately, so the main guy decides to go the next day with Lamit and Hulami to try the food at that restaurant. The branch owner recognizes their scouting. Because Lamit's carrying a huge vending machine, it stands out a lot, but the owner is super confident and still invites them in for a meal. Inside the restaurant was packed, but Hulami felt the food was terrible since she had already tasted the stuff from the vending machine. Lamit realized the food here was pretty bland. He understood the spices were expensive, so he started figuring out how to beat the restaurant. So at the next meeting, the restaurant owners decided to bring out their new dishes. To get everyone's feedback, Munami didn't know if she was trolling or not when she invited him to try, but he just gave up because he didn't even have a mouth to eat. So Hulami and Lamit decided to eat for him and give feedback. They said the taste was bland like watered-down snail soup. It couldn't match Bokin's rich flavor. While Munami was taking notes, the protagonist transformed into a canned food vending machine. After tasting it, Munami felt it was very flavorful. The restaurant owners quickly tried some other dishes too. They decided to cook according to those flavors. The next day, a bunch of small food stalls opened up competing with the chain restaurant. The new flavors and low prices attracted customers, and the branch restaurant owner saw his customers disappearing. So he freaked out and ran home to tell his mom. With Munami and the gang's booming business, the branch restaurant quickly shut down due to no customers. Right then, Captain KGROI came to see Lamit and invited them to join him on the next mission. Of course Lamit refused, but the captain said he had saved him last time, so he hoped this time Lamit would show some respect and agree. Then he left, leaving Lamit to make the final decision. That night, Lamit sat by the stream, wanting to join but worried he wasn't strong enough, so he transformed into a flower vending machine and asked Hulami to bring flowers to encourage him. This made Lamit happy and confident again. Tonight the protagonist was out on the street trying to find customers. While thinking of Lamit, a girl with hair covering her face approached, hoping to be his first customer, but she quickly hid behind him, because two guards were walking by. The bald guy wrapped a red scarf and bought a can of vegetable stew, his favorite dish. The girl overheard this and waited until the two guards returned to their post. This morning, the protagonist saw the bald guy and his team catch the girl while she was shopping. He politely greeted her and helped carry her stuff. He could tell they had feelings for each other. So tonight she wanted to greet him but was too shy to face him, so the protagonist transformed and gave her 2 white radishes not to use directly but to cook a delicious stew for her crush. Girl got the hint and quickly bowed in thanks, revealing an incredibly beautiful face. The protagonist was totally captivated. So the next night at the gate, when the guy bragged about tasting her stew, the protagonist threw a hot drink at him to get back at him. The next morning, Lamit and Hulami came back from work and brought 2 bottles of Coke to refresh. Lamit said they'd set out tomorrow to fish crocodiles. They were one of the 3 natural disaster monsters here. The snakes and frogs had been dealt with, so they needed to check if the number of crocodiles was increasing. Hulami was worried because 2-headed snakes and giant frogs had appeared, signaling some instability on this floor, but Lamit told her not to worry because he had the protagonist with them, so they set out the next day. They met Crazy Joy's dumb hunting group again. Lamit decided to walk to train and improve his health. Seeing this, Hulami got on the bike and took her place because she wanted to follow on the way. They were ambushed by a bunch of frogs, but Kenji Aroi and his team quickly took care of them. Lamit wanted to help too, so he asked if there was a rock nearby to throw at the frogs. After thinking, he handed over a glass bottle of water. Seeing this, they threw it at the frogs, killing them instantly. Lamit threw it so hard it flew high into the sky. The group then stopped to rest and eat lunch. The team was very happy to have the protagonist around. They no longer had to kill monsters for food. Hulami had urgent business and wanted to leave for a bit, so the protagonist understood and transformed into another vending machine, selling a bucket, plastic bags, and a small tent. Yes, this was a portable restroom, both convenient and very private, so they don't have to slaughter monsters to eat. Hulami has urgent business and wants to leave for a bit. You get the hint and transform into another vending machine, selling a bucket, some bags, and a small tent. Yep, this is an outdoor restroom, both handy and super private. Vice Captain Fumi is relieved to see it. Carrie Joy quickly steps up, telling everyone to praise him for the big contribution. He invited you here to assist, but everyone says hell no, the convoy keeps moving. Carrie Joy tells everyone to stay alert. Meanwhile, he's going back to sleep. The two friends AK and Shizuo want to stab him, but Vice Captain Fumi calls him down to talk. Carrie Joy immediately orders AK and Shizuo to scout the area. Meanwhile, I relaxed with everyone sipping soda from the vending machine before getting down to business. By afternoon, AK and Shizuo returned reporting a swamp nearby with about 30 crocodiles. Seeing the two say the crocodiles weren't huge, Hulemi wondered if the Frog King's appearance caused the frogs to gather, and they became dangerous so the crocodiles couldn't hunt them. Fumi worried that if the crocs couldn't hunt frogs, they'd switch prey to humans. The captain wasn't worried since the mission was just reconnaissance, but Fumi wanted an LV bag, so he told him to take this chance to hunt crocodiles. Hearing that the protagonist realized she was a money lover, basically the boss of this group, Hulemi suggested they attack tomorrow since crocodiles are nocturnal predators, so they'd be most active at night. That evening the group decided to rest up while Lamit and Hulemi seemed worried about tomorrow's battle. Hulemi was thinking about the croc's weakness when the protagonist suddenly turned into an ice machine. Seeing him produce lots of ice cubes, Hulemi immediately understood his plan. The next morning, he dumped tons of ice into the river. AK and Shizuo ran back reporting the crocs crawled ashore because the river water was freezing cold. Keiji Joy wanted Fumi to summon fog to blind the crocs, but the river was too wide for her to reach. At that moment, he transformed into a dry ice machine. Seeing Carrie ROI about to mess around and touch it, he luckily got warned, or he'd have lost a hand. They then released dry ice into the river, creating smoke. Carrie Joy was proud she picked the right people, but Filmy said he was even more useless than the machine. That made him sulk out of pride. Lamit decided to join Carrie Joy's group while Hulemi stayed beside him, continuing to create smoke. At that time, Hulemi said she was sent by the Bear Guild leader to investigate the reason for this floor's instability. She worried it was related to the floor's monster that appears only every 15 days. They heard if they could defeat it, they'd get a VIP pro item, but no way they'd be that lucky. Just after saying that they saw a crazy convoy, Joy was running back scared out of his mind while Lamit had already fainted. Behind them was a giant queen crocodile. He activated his shield, pushing Hulemi onto the vehicle with Carrie Joy's group as he stayed behind to hold off the monster. The crocodile charged and knocked the protagonist away. Determined to hold it off to protect Lamit, he transformed. He created countless fried chicken packets to distract the croc. Seeing the plan working well, he made even more. But the croc with a mouth as big as Dukbo swallowed him whole. Inside the croc's stomach being corroded by digestive fluids, he sprayed an antacid medicine. Then he turned into a GA gas sprayer, blasting the croc's bloated stomach with gas, having adapted to his transformation mechanism. The protagonist then produced a metal lunchbox and a newspaper, putting them into a microwave to spin. Using his shield's power, he shot the lit newspaper outside while the GA gas inside expanded, successfully causing the queen crocodile to explode, leaving only bone fragments. Luckily, he wasn't blown to scrap metal. On top of that, he got a rare item, one-day coin shaped like a crocodile. About to test it, the ground suddenly cracked and he fell into an abyss. Near death, he recalled Lamiti's face crying when he would be gone. In moments like these, the protagonist's mind sparked and he turned into a balloon vending machine. But he couldn't blow balloons as fast as young kids at bars, so the protagonist decided to use points to boost the machine's speed, successfully producing countless balloons inside a shield. Then he transformed into a vending machine, automatically made of cardboard to reduce weight. The protagonist finally safely landed on the next floor. It was an enormous maze. Seeing it looked complicated, he decided to take pictures so he'd have a map to use later. After a while, he landed safely and checked his points, a whopping 100,000,000 reward for defeating the queen crocodile. The protagonist decided to use his upgrade ability to level up to level 2. Then he used his new skill to turn into an automatic cleaning machine using a vacuum to collect 10 DD crocodile coins. He thought this item would be awesome, but it turned out useless except for collecting. With transformation time almost up, he had no choice but to return. The default form is a vending machine. The next day is sunny, but the protagonist isn't worried because he added a solar panel function. Thanks to solar energy, he can collect 10 rays of sunlight to gain points, feeling proud because he's just so smart. Just as he's getting eco-conscious, he sees a group of baby bears being chased by some wild pigs. Tail curled, seeing injustice he can't ignore, he decides to go invisible and activates his shield. He shoots milk at the pigs, scaring them off so they run away. The bears unharmed turn back to check the situation. Curious, they sniff and investigate him, making him feel awesome like a bunch of kittens surrounding him. Suddenly, the protagonist greets them, saying welcome, scares the bears away, so he transforms into a fried food vending machine and uses a box of fragrant roasted chicken to lure the bears back. The bears are cautious but still get hooked by the smell. the protagonist has also remembered each baby bear's name. The brown bear is Mickey, the white one is Suko, the blue one is Peo, and the black one is Sot. Peo, being greedy, can't resist coming close to the fried chicken box. Despite warnings from teammates, Peo ignores them and eats like crazy. Seeing his friend enjoying the food, Suko and Sot come over, insert money into the slot, and happily feast on the fried chicken. Mike fears his friends might get poisoned, so he decides to try the food himself to be sure. That's when the protagonist successfully tames this cute bear clan. After overhearing their conversation, he learns they came down to this floor to earn extra money. Mike is full and suggests they all head back. Bayo agrees since staying means certain death, but Suko disagrees. They haven't found the treasure yet. Mike points and tells the protagonist, "That's the treasure right there." Hearing this, the protagonist happily greets them, which scares the bears. They think he's reacting strangely to their words. Bio thinks the machine has a mind of its own, but Mike believes it just answers automatically per its programming. The protagonist, annoyed, says this bear has a brain but doesn't know how to use it. The bears decide to carry him away, but they're too small. How could they lift him? He fears if he turns into a cardboard vending machine, everyone will panic. So he quickly adds wheels, letting the little bears just push him along. While moving, Suko worries about monster attacks on the way. That's a good point, so he activates his shield to show off. But this traps Sot and Peo inside, scaring them, so they fight back. Mike threatens from outside. Mike demands they release their friend or he'll cut them deep. Afraid of castration, the protagonist turns off the shield and transforms into a machine. It can display text on screen but only a few greetings in Japanese, which the bears don't understand at all. The bears start disliking the protagonist, so he offers food to win them over. While they're happily eating, the pigs suddenly attack again. Instantly, he turns into an oil vending machine, but unfortunately, there's no AI to operate it. Luckily, a vibration causes the nozzle to fall out, helping the protagonist spray oil, making the pigs slip and fall hard. Just then, a speed demon monster appears, forcing the bears to flee in panic with the protagonist. The pigs turn into piglets. The monster eats well, then leaves. The bears are left out of breath. Mike wonders about the boss's sudden appearance, and Sot says if they defeat it they'll get a VIP item. The protagonist just wants to tell them to stop thinking about becoming bears and drop that idea. That night he watches the cute bears sleep, enjoying the moment when suddenly 3 demons appear. He turns on the lights to wake the bears, but they're sleeping too soundly to notice, so he yells loudly to wake them. The bears get scared seeing the demons. Luckily, he gives Mickey a bottle of water to cool down the demons, then they rush in and defeat them. Witnessing this, the protagonist thinks these bears aren't just cute, they're actually pretty capable. He thought after this, they'd realize he's more than just a chunk of metal, but the bears still treat him like a simple machine, which frustrates him. The next morning, the bears push him out of the maze, but suddenly stop thanks to their super sensitive ears. They detect people ahead. Sot scouts forward and reports back that there's a bear elder ahead, the guild leader at the Clean for Nam Protagonist Guild. Hearing this, the protagonist knows his rescue team has arrived. Sot says the guild leader came with a human girl who can smash stones with her bare hands. Peo thinks Sot's hallucinating because humans who smash stones usually end up in jail or caught by the cops. At that moment, as if sensing something, he suddenly froze because he was scared, typical crybaby after beating those pigs flat on the floor. Then he rushed to the machine that had severely injured him, needing upgrades to increase its durability. Lamit and the rest of the group were really happy to see him safe, but Carrie, ROI, sighed deeply because Lamit, after knowing he fell here, ran off to drag the guildmaster and urged everyone to hurry and rescue him. The guildmaster saw the bears were still safe and even protecting the protagonist, so he decided to reward them and covered the group eating snacks from the vending machine. Mickey wondered what that machine was, so the guild master quickly explained. He's a magical artifact with reason, but Mickey didn't believe it, thinking it was nonsense. The crybaby had to guide them on how to talk to him, and after being enlightened they were stunned and confused, because it turned out he could really think. The bears ate their fill and rolled over to sleep while the guild master went to the protagonist to discuss the next mission. Keezy's group was tasked with defeating the monster in this maze level. That monster was called the Blazing Skeleton. The guildmaster feared it would become a new threat to the town. Upstairs, Kenji Joy continued explaining that each member of his team had their own goal. They heard a rumor that if AI reached the lowest floor and collected coins from the bosses, they'd get a wish granted. After hearing this, he realized the crocodile coin he had was legit. Harry Joy said their group had 6 wishes but had only collected 3 coins so far, so they needed 3 more, meaning each coin corresponded to 1 wish. At this point, Aladdin's genie was just a kid. Carrie Joy heard Hulimi say he had a human soul inside, so he wanted him to cooperate for the wish. Upon hearing this, Lamit immediately grabbed Keezy Joy's collar and asked if he was joking. Meanwhile, he found this deal interesting and agreed to cooperate after learning the protagonist held the crocodile coin. Keezy Joy was relieved and invited Lamit and Hulemi to join the guild. Lamit agreed, wanting to help the protagonist become human again, because one machine alone couldn't make much progress. Seeing this, Hulemi also agreed to join. Fumi and Sui were very happy. From now on the group had a super useful helper. That night the team went to sleep soundly to rest, but he was still pondering whether he should return to being human. The next morning the guildmaster showed everyone a rough map he drew. Seeing it was very incomplete, he pulled out some photos he had taken. The guildmaster was very happy seeing them on the screen. He immediately gave him a cash reward. Filmy quickly grabbed pen and paper to copy the map. The guildmaster then led everyone to a trap he had prepared no matter what. My best friend in games always falls into traps like this hole he dug. He wanted to trap the blazing skeleton monster with this trap, so the team needed quality action over quantity. That's why he brought 2 skilled guards. They followed to support the trap site, and the guildmaster activated a device to clearly show everyone the pit's location, so they could remember it. Carrie Joy drew up a plan for discussion. They would lure the bone monster into the pit. Because the fire around it was annoying, they'd extinguish the flames to expose its skeleton and then attack to eliminate it. Carrie Joy then asked the protagonist if he could spray water to flood the pit. Although it was risky, the customer is king, so he turned into a car wash machine. Lamit and Lamduke came to check and read the instructions to learn how to use it. Kizzy Joy immediately dumped the responsibility of loading money into the machine on Fumi. The one who holds the money is always the boss. Lamit grabbed his big water gun and pulled the trigger, spraying water everywhere, making her really happy, but it took 2 days before they could spray enough water into the pit. He could only transform for 2 hours daily, so every day after that, he only spent 1 hour spraying water, and let others throw water bottles into the pit. Meanwhile, Crazy's group, Joy and the 2 guards took responsibility for killing the nearby monsters. Sui used his water hose to easily defeat the ghosts. At this time, Mike decided to check how high the water level was in the pit. As soon as he went down, he found the ground had absorbed all the water, so the plan was totally ruined. The protagonist refused to give up, turned into an ice machine and poured ice into the pit because ice wouldn't be absorbed by the ground. From that night everyone went to rest. He worked and thought, then the crybaby came to ask if he wanted to return to being human. Of course no guy would refuse the chance to hold a girl's hand instead of running a mobile grocery store. But the main guy fears that if he becomes human again he won't be as useful as when he was a vending machine. Automatically, and then getting shunned by everyone. Lamit sees he's really conflicted and says she'd be happy to help. Days passed and the number of stones in the pit grew significantly. The flaming skeleton had tracked them down. It jumped into approach, but Mike triggered a trap, dropping it into the pit. Everyone bowed down, worried about the steam rising, but nothing appeared. Turns out the cold stones he dropped were dry ice. It created dense carbon dioxide and the skeleton's flames died out from lack of oxygen. Mike said they should seize the moment to attack since the skeleton was trying to climb up. While Kenji Joy wondered if there was something hard to smash its head with, he noticed the main guy seemed perfect for it. Hearing this made him freeze, and Lamit firmly opposed the plan. Kenji Joy's team thought the plan was risky, so they decided to go down themselves to finish off the monster. But the main guy refused because they'd get poisoned and die if they went down there. The situation was urgent and Kenji Joy's group was about to act, forcing the main guy to turn into an adult magazine vending machine, embarrassing Lamit so much she smacked him away. Taking the chance, he turned into a super tough phone booth and charged down, smashing the skeleton in the pit and defeating it successfully. Lamit tried to go down to save him, but he transformed into a vacuum to collect the flaming skeleton's coins, then used balloons and a shield to fly up out of the pit. He landed safely afterward. Lamit ran over to scold him for being reckless, but Hulemi told her to stop nagging like a young wife. Although Lamit sulked without reason, she was happy he was safe. Carrie Joy asked about the flaming skeleton's coin and wanted to take it. Hulemi immediately stepped forward, asking who gave permission to take it. Carrie Joy used the power of money to buy it for 100 gold coins. The guild leader thought the price was fair, and since he already had the crocodile coin for making wishes, he agreed to the deal. Hulemi handed the coin to Kizzy Joy, who got what they wanted, making their team very happy. Everything ended well, so everyone decided to return to the clean lake floor. They all went to the Hunter's Guild branch in the labyrinth floor. The guild leader was worried because 2 huge bugs had appeared in succession. When he entered the facility, he found one employee reading fireworks and another dozing off. He had to lecture the 2 employees about responsibility at work. After the lecture, he ordered everyone to rest. That night the main guy had a peaceful night beside Lamit, allowing him to rest easy. The next day, Kizzy Joy's group used the teleport gate to leave while Lamit and Hulemi stayed behind because the Bear Guild leader wanted them to help survey the labyrinth's perimeter. At that moment, a guy wearing shiny black armor walked into the guild hall. He went to the reception and introduced himself as Misu. His good looks made all the girls there swoon. Seeing the mission wasn't ready yet, Misu hurried off. Watching everything, the main guy thought, handsome guys are always badass, but Hulemi believed he might be weak because to her skilled hunters are tough-looking, muscular, and bearded. But Lamit disagreed, saying she'd heard about a female hunter who was insanely skilled and famous for her stunning beauty. Hulemi found that reasonable, and thought she shouldn't judge by appearances. That evening, the main guy was selling at the guild entrance when he saw Misu step out of the inn. Misu looked very anxious because there were many strangers around. The main guy immediately knew he was an introvert. Misu appeared flustered and nervous at the thought of talking to others. Feeling sorry for him, the main guy decided to help him calm down with a warm can of Cao. He quickly greeted him and offered the drink. After calming down, Misu decided to meet Lamit for negotiations. The next morning, Lamit happily announced that Misu wanted to join them to investigate the labyrinth, accompanied by their cute bear driving the carriage. But no matter what Lamit or Bear Mike asked, Misu only gave vague answers. Feeling terrible at communicating, he ran to the back to hide from embarrassment. Despite that, the protagonist still noticed Misu trying to improve his communication skills through this mission. By night, everyone was fast asleep except Misu, who was whining about how fate blessed him with looks but didn't give him the smooth-talking skills of a Hanoi guy. Seizing the moment, the protagonist greeted him and offered a warm Ca can. Misu really liked buying things without having to talk to the seller. This is exactly the advantage of vending machines. A week later, the Lamit group hadn't faced any problems, but today she looked really tired. Hulemi wanted her to get in the car, but Lamit said she was fine even though she kept holding her waist. Worried, Misu came over to check on her. Suddenly Lamit got too weak and collapsed, but luckily he caught her and helped her into the car to rest. Hulemi understood the situation and suggested Lamit change clothes. Lamit was afraid of causing trouble but had no other choice. At that moment, he realized Lamit's aunt had visited, causing her stomach pain and weakness. The Mickey gang was still naive like little viewers, so they didn't get it. Only Suko, being a girl, understood Lamit was going through her period. The protagonist decided to turn into a sanitary pad vending machine. After checking its absorbency, Hulemi immediately got the idea. He even transformed into a washing machine to help Lamit clean her dirty clothes. 2 months flew by and only 3 days remained until Lamit's group returned. After spending time together, Misu became more open. He enjoyed chatting happily with Lamit and Hulemi. Mike suddenly sensed the presence of strangers. Bayo also felt there were 5 people in that group. Misu asked everyone to stay because he knew that stranger group was after him and wanted to handle it alone. But Lamit refused to let him get ganged up on alone. Hulemi felt the same, so they told Misu not to worry because if danger came, the protagonist would protect him. Seeing isn't believing, he decided to show Misu his shield ability. Hulemi told Misu to try attacking. If the shield holds, he had to let them come along. Misu agreed, then drew his family heirloom sword, launching a twin dragon mountain breaking strike straight at the shield. The protagonist's shield could block it but still took significant damage. Misu's strength was like half that of a boss-level enemy, no joke. Seeing Lamit safe after the attack, Misu agreed to let her and Mika join him. Using Mika's nose and Lamit's senses, they learned the enemy had 3 swordsmen and 2 mages. Their leader was a one-eyed, sly-looking guy. As expected, he immediately tried to take Misu's life upon meeting. Seeing Lamit and Mika too weak, he promised to spare them if Misu obediently gave up his life. Misu shot back. "No chance, I got this." The one-eyed guy accepted the challenge. Lamit and Mika quickly ran off. The 2 mages chased after them while Misu blocked 3 magic attacks that couldn't pierce his shield. Then he transformed into a car wash machine, letting Lamit spray water on the enemies, followed by a soap blast that stung their eyes. Together with Mika, they successfully tied up the 2 mages. On the other side, Misu easily took down the one-eyed leader with a 3-hit combo, earning Lamit's deep admiration. Misu had some personal matters to discuss with them, so Lamit, Mika and he stepped aside to let him talk quietly with the enemy. In the end, Misu apologized for dragging everyone into his problems, but Hulemi and Lamit were used to it since the protagonist often got caught up in all kinds of kidnapping incidents. It made him uncomfortable because he didn't want the Lamit group in danger, so Misu decided to move to another floor. Later, Lamit told him to join Kenji Joy's Dumb Beast group since their only recruitment rule was strength. Hulemi thought it made sense because that group had no normal AI at all. Encouraged by both, Misu happily said he would contact them, but worried as soon as he turned around because he had to talk to strangers again. Today, Munami called an emergency meeting to organize a cooking contest because the town's outer wall was almost finished. Munami planned to leverage the wall completion celebration to host the contest and promote the brand. Other shop owners loved the idea, and even wanted a VIP prize for the winner to spice things up and charge entry fees for participants. They thought this idea was so brilliant that everyone agreed to put it into action. But you think these guys are total capitalists. The next day, the restaurant owners come begging the main guy for help. Munami's reason is that with the unlucky girl and the cute bears around, they're basically legit food vending machines. If they joined the contest, those restaurant owners would be left with nothing but empty pockets. Not knowing what to do, he turned into a Coca-Cola vending machine and suggested the bubbles would help customers feel full faster. Lamit's worried this plan was too obvious, but the clever restaurant owners said they'd sell it at a high price during the event and give it free to the eating contest participants to fool everyone. This shocked Lamit and Hulemi because suddenly they felt incredibly smart. The owners hoped he'd sell them a large quantity of coca at a fair price, and he agreed. Before long, the contest day arrived. There were so many participants that they were split into 2 groups. The top 5 from each group would advance to the finals and have a chance to win the championship. Munami quickly signaled for the contest to start. The first round was a speed-eating contest. Starting with Group 1, the 4 cute bears easily beat the lucky blonde guy who grabbed the last slot. Next up was Group 2 featuring Shui along with Lamit and Sister Silei. As soon as the signal sounded, the girls ate like starving beasts. Shui's ability to demolish food shocked the audience. In the end, the winners were Shui, the girl with glasses, Lamit, and 2 big guys. It was break time for the contestants to digest before continuing. Hulami and Lamit were surprised by a performance they'd never seen before called the Happy Farm, but no one really understood what it was about. Munami came out to announce that the final round was about to start. The main guy turned into a music player to hype up the atmosphere. The goal of this round was whoever ate the most within the time limit would win. When the signal blew, Shui and the bears quickly finished the fried chicken and moved on to the dessert waffles, forcing Lamit and the girl with glasses to speed up and catch up. But Shui's appetite was insane. She quickly pulled ahead and dominated the victory. Then came the awards ceremony. You'd think the grand prize would be something amazing, but the box was empty. Munami excitedly announced the first prize: unlimited use of the main guy for a whole day. Damn, what a genius move. Is she immortal? Or what's saving money on altars? But since Munami had bought a ton of coca, the main guy had to agree. So Shui happily bragged to her team about owning him for a day. Kenji Joy and the vice captain quickly tried to convince her to take him on missions with them to earn money. More smart folks who think they're cleverer than everyone else. Sui insisted because she wanted to go on a date with him in the first underground layer. Sui then led Lamit and him down there. They arrived at an orphanage. The kids were super happy to see Sui return. The principal quickly came out to welcome them. Sui happily introduced Lamit to everyone. The hospitable principal invited them all inside. Inside, Sui showed the kids how to get food and drinks from the machine since today she had full access to him. The kids at the orphanage happily enjoyed the earthly delights to their heart's content. Seeing the kids happy made the main guy happy too. Then he turned into a balloon vending machine, giving each kid a balloon and telling them to hold it, not suck on it. Then he and Lamit used the car wash function to spray water and play with the kids. After that, he turned into a washing machine to clean everyone's dirty clothes. Seeing the kids playing in the rain without bathing, Shui scared them into taking a bath right away. Oh man, so scary. But there was no hot water in the bathroom because the 2 girls were so busy playing they forgot to boil water. The principal gently reminded them and forgave them, but boiling water would take too long, which everyone understood. So he turned into an automatic hot water machine. Mid casually took his nozzle and sprayed hot water, filling the tub, letting everyone wash up clean and fresh. Watching the kids bathe with Lamit and Shui, who wouldn't want to be a kid again, the principal politely thanked him for everything he did for the school. That night, everyone threw a fried chicken party, eating and drinking like there was no tomorrow. The protagonist was happy to help everyone, but worried they might become too dependent on him. Mid came over to check on him. She noticed he was deep in thought because every time he thought, a light would turn on. Lamit told him to cheer up since they had brought a lot of joy to the kids today. Seeing how thoughtful Lamit was and how much she loved kids made the protagonist just want to take her home as his wife. At night, everyone was fast asleep except for Sui, who sneaked out to talk with him. She thanked him and promised to pay for the food expenses today, but he told her they were like siblings and money didn't matter, then gave Sui a bottle of Coke. Sui chugged it down but immediately started coughing up a storm. This part's off limits for anyone reading backward. Then Sui told him about the first layer. It's where even AI must pass to reach other layers, and many abandoned kids live there who have never seen sunlight. Sui's wish is to help everyone find happiness. She then wished him a good night and went to rest. As soon as Sui left, a group of hunters appeared coming to kidnap the protagonist because they heard he was a rare mage who could give out free food. He didn't want to make noise and wake Lamit and everyone else who was sleeping soundly. He transformed into a machine, surprising the hunters by creating thick smoke and the sound of flowing water, then shot frozen stones to scare them off. The next morning, he showed Lamit and Sui a picture of the hunters from last night. The principal got angry when she found out what those scumbags did and grabbed her bow and arrows to teach them a lesson. Sui wasn't worried seeing her go alone because the principal was her master and extremely strong. After a while, the principal happily returned with an empty quiver, and the protagonist immediately guessed she gave those hunters a serious moral lecture. No wonder she's Sui's master. Lamit screamed like a scared little furred weasel because Captain Kenji Joy arrived to invite her to the lair of the dead's lament, a place full of zombies and bone demons. Kenji Joy thought Lamit was busy and couldn't join, but Hulemi said Lamit was scared of ghosts, which made Lamit nervous. Kenji Joy said it's just full of corpses and demons, nothing to be scared of. Wait, if those aren't scary, then what the hell is? Hulemi had heard about that lair but didn't know much about it. Fumi then said it's a place where some lost souls wail, begging anyone with money to donate to Boquin 5 eggs for little a rocket for a lot. That scared Lamit so much she clung tightly to the protagonist. Even by afternoon when asked, Lamit still denied being afraid of ghosts. Hulemi casually shared that Lamit was so scared as a kid she didn't dare pee at night. Joy worried that if Lamit didn't go AI would have to carry the protagonist. Umi was also worried because without him they wouldn't get to enjoy the main character's spotlight. Lamit rushed out, claiming she wasn't scared and would go though her face showed pure terror. Seeing this, Joy decided to leave immediately from the teleport gate. Lamit asked where Vice Captain Filmy was. Joy said she was scared too and ran off, leaving Lamid to curse quietly. Turns out she was scared of ghosts too but lied about it. The lair of the dead's lament is full of graves like mushrooms. The group arrived at the hunter's branch. As soon as they entered, Lamid noticed a photo of a dark woman. Suddenly, the woman appeared right behind Lamid, causing her to faint instantly, so the protagonist had to become a cardboard box while everyone carried Lamid away to rest. The innkeeper had heard about the vending machine, so she agreed to let him stay outside the door. Hulemi told him about how timid Lamid was as a kid, which made him think she was adorably cute. Despite her fear, Lamid still decided to go with everyone. He thought she was worried no one could carry her, so she joined. Hulemi said it wasn't that and walked away, leaving him to figure out the reason himself. That night, the protagonist spotted ghosts and skeletons outside his house, quickly raised a shield, and thought of ways to chase them off. Salt is best for warding off evil, but here it was useless. He tried another way by turning into a vending machine, throwing all sorts of Buddha statues and prayer beads at the monsters, but they weren't believers so they didn't care. The next morning when Hulemi stepped outside, she saw Joy models scattered all over the ground. She then ordered her subordinates to scout around while she went to find reinforcements. The landlady suddenly appeared before the protagonist and told him that zombies often show up in the village at night and only attack the living. Her gloomy appearance made him find her as scary as the zombies. Lamid finally woke up feeling sad because she was too scared. Hulemi immediately invited Lamid to overcome her fear of ghosts. Lamid eagerly agreed to take Hulemi as her teacher, but the first lesson was to have Lamid take a walk around the village. Lamid was a bit nervous, but Hulemi said it was just a little gloomy here, similar to their place. Lamid said there's no way it's similar. Under Hulemi's teasing, she reluctantly accepted the challenge. He planned to bring the protagonist, but Hulemi insisted she go alone. Not wanting to be seen as a kid, Lamid went but ran back as soon as she heard the door open. He wanted to offer Lamid sweets to calm her down, but Hulemi forbade it. Lamid said her mission was to carry the protagonist, so she had to bring him along no matter what. That made sense, so Hulemi agreed. The protagonist wondered why he was basically dragged along. I'm scared of ghosts too, you know? Lamid carried him on her back but kept asking if he was still there. Do I look like I have legs to run? The protagonist realized Lamid agreed to the trip to overcome her fear and to be with him, so he decided to cheer her up by using a new ability to emit a scent and then turn into a music player to ease her fear. With his help, Lamid went home proudly, showing she had completed the challenge. Hulemi said this time Lamid should leave him behind and try going alone. Lamid bowed her head and said, I'm done with this. Joy returned with reinforcements, the cute bears and Misu. He was a bit worried about Misu because there were many people here, but Misu was introverted. Joy said Misu was trying out for the bear team, so this mission would help him score points. Joy briefed everyone on the mission's goal: find and destroy the Soul King bug. The bears weren't afraid of ghosts, but hated them because of their awful smell. Lamid was so scared when Joy shouted, let's move out, that she crushed her snack box. On the way, the bears saw many graves and offerings, and wondered if they were edible. Joy stopped the vehicle because the zombies noticed someone competing for their food and came to settle the score. Everyone quickly took positions and teamed up to defeat them. After observing the zombies for a few days, he realized they spent all their time admiring themselves in mirrors. He wondered if they had an aversion because a zombie kid suddenly rushed out to scare the protagonist. Even as a zombie, Coca-Cola always attracted kids. The kind protagonist gave him a bottle of orange juice. When given the wrong drink, the kid bit the bottle to vent frustration. Over the next few nights, the zombie kid kept coming to the protagonist asking for drinks. Tonight the group decided to camp outside. AK and Shizu sensed a zombie approaching them. It turned out to be the zombie kid. AK grabbed his spear and charged to exorcise it. Despite the protagonist's loud protests, Shizu picked up a coin, wondering if the zombie kid planned to use it to buy something. Nikki said the kid had been following them for a while but did nothing, so he ignored it. Finally, the protagonist told Shizuo and AK to insert the coin into the vending machine to honor the zombie kid. After days of investigation, Joy pinpointed the Soul King's location. Ulimi said it was highly skilled in magic, but Joy wasn't worried because the protagonist's barrier could block magic. Hearing that, the protagonist thought it wasn't a joke and agreed to join. Joy said she would handle the Soul King's minions while the rest coordinated based on the situation. The group then drank Coca-Cola to toast the mission's success. As they set off, Shizuo reported that AK had located the Soul King. At the site, AK said the Soul King was the boss of the kindergarten, always with his minions. Joy thought the group wasn't big but was tough to beat. Shui wished their deputy Fumi was here because her magic could quickly eliminate the henchmen. While they were strategizing, the protagonist transformed into an oil vending machine. Lamit picked up his bottle and thought it was water shooting out, but it wasn't. When Mickey sniffed it, it smelled terribly rotten. Lamit touched it and felt it slimy, so she immediately guessed what it was. She decided to try lighting it, but instead helped Mickey end up with his hair burning like crazy. Thanks to that, they managed to come up with a battle plan. They threw oil bottles at the monsters, giving the fire spirits a chance to wreck the enemy. The whole group seized the moment to charge forward and finish off the remaining monsters. The Soul King unleashed a powerful magic strike, but it was blocked by the boy's shield. Seeing his opponent wasn't easy to take down, the Soul King summoned earth walls to split the enemy formation. He asked Lamit about what she was carrying behind her. Lamit refused to say and charged forward to attack. The Soul King shot stones at her, but they were blocked by the boy's shield again. Seeing this, he used wind to blow them away. Surprisingly, Lamit stood firm, making him think she had VIP magic, but it was just because she was a total beast. Seeing Lamit was tough, the Soul King used magic to split the ground in two. The boy transformed into a cardboard box so Lamit could easily jump out before being buried alive. The Soul King planned to attack, but was interrupted by Sway's arrow barrage. Lamit took the chance to team up with the protagonist, unleashing their ultimate move, the Thunder Kick, successfully splitting the Soul King in two. The Carry Joy gang tumbled, but cheered because Lamit defeated the boss monster. Even with only his head left, the Soul King kept trash-talking. Carry Joy stomped on him. As he was about to crush him for the coin, a black orb suddenly appeared from the sky and attacked them. The protagonist activated his shield to defend, but the accumulation points kept dropping uncontrollably. In the end, only Lamit, Misu, and Carry Joy remained conscious. Suddenly, many vines appeared on the ground, merging into a sphere inside which was a terrifying skeleton. Lamit asked who he was. He said he didn't remember, only that people called him the King of Hell. He wasn't interested in the underworld coin, but enjoyed hunting for fun. Lamit quickly told them to retreat and threw an oil bottle at the King of Hell. Shui fired a missile, causing the shield to explode, blinding the King of Hell. While the gang was running, he attacked them. Lamit, having the biggest brain, got caught by the King of Hell. The King of Hell then grabbed Shui to have both hands occupied. Both still urged Lamit to run fast. The King of Hell zapped them down with electricity. Seeing her friends taken down by the King of Hell, Lamit angrily charged, unleashing her full power in a one-on-one fight, but was still overwhelmed. The protagonist thought up a plan, but feared if they lost, Lamit would have to sell salt. The King of Hell attacked with a black arrow, but the protagonist quickly raised his shield to block it. Lamit thanked the protagonist confidently, saying she would win with him by her side. Hearing that he also trusted her and transformed into another machine, Lamit realized he had a plan and confidently charged into battle. The King of Hell planned to take Lamit to meet his friends, but the protagonist refused and launched her away. Seeing him about to attack, he released several balloons filled with air to shield Lamit. The King of Hell destroyed the balloons but was suddenly kicked by Lamit, breaking his arm. Seeing Lamit's potential, the King of Hell decided to retreat, promising a rematch. Lamit cried heavily beside Lamit. Ezzy Joy woke up and rushed to check on Shui. He quickly massaged her heart with his hands and told Lamit to do the same. The protagonist saw this and transformed into a defibrillator machine, but Lamit and Carry Joy didn't know how to use it. He had to spend all his points to unlock it. Then he attached the electric shock pads as instructed onto Lamit's body, shocked her heart, and let Lamit continue massaging it. They successfully saved Lamit and quickly applied the same method to revive Sui, who woke up to see the captain's face. Before understanding what happened, he quickly hugged her. The protagonist felt super jealous. That night, Misu apologized to Lamit and Sui for acting on their own and putting them in danger. Lamit said it wasn't their fault. It was because that King of Hell dude was way too dangerous. The protagonist was determined to make him pay if they met again. A few days later, the team returned to the clean floor. They reported everything to the guild leader, who said he had heard of the King of Hell and knew he served under the Demon King. He would hold an emergency meeting and told everyone to rest. Lamit happily returned to the dorm. Sister Munami came down the stairs to hug her after hearing Lamit had to fight a VIP pro opponent. The story of their encounter with the King of Hell had spread. The whole town praised the brave male lead Suji. They came to honor him. He deserved his reward and left, leaving everyone confused. Misu stood anxiously on the bridge. Then the little bears came to invite him to form a team of 5 to play Arena of Valor. Misu swore with his sword in hand, "I will be the best Florentino fighting until I find a lover." Mike excitedly told about how the guild leader had called hundreds more to gather here. After hearing this, Misu became gloomy and introverted. That night, Deputy Leader Fumi noticed Carry Joy acting strange and came to check on her after the recent events. Carry Joy lost her confidence, fearing to witness losing her teammates. AK and Shiro came to cheer her up. They told her, this is the path they chose, so don't worry. Carry Joy regained her spirit. She immediately assigned tomorrow's mission to her subordinates, even though she had been skipping their pay for a month. The next morning, Lamit carried the male lead very early. She brought him to the place where they first met and they reminisced together. Lamit knew he blamed himself for their injuries, but told him not to be sad. Because of him, Hulemi and Sui were saved. Hearing this, he was touched, not expecting Lamit to care so much. Hulemi and Sui wanted to say the same thing. They came to thank the male lead. Seeing the two kiss him made Lamit jealous. Hulemi told her to follow her lead and thank him. Lamit thought it made sense, but blushed shyly in front of him. The other two pushed Lamit, making her rush forward to give him a passionate kiss. Seeing so many beautiful girls interested in him, the male lead felt like he had turned into a vending machine. Amazing.